Welcome back. Will Worsham joins us now for this week's Speaking Legal discussion. First of all, thanks for coming in once again.
Glad to be here.
Always glad to see you. You ready?
Sure.
All right, we'll take a look at this question. Now, I'm getting ready to start a business. What do I need to know? And I don't think we've ever tackled a question like this before. It's always been I've bumped into someone.
Yeah. Well, I think maybe once or twice we've maybe touched on something like this, but wow, what an open-ended question.
Yeah, no
There's
kidding.
a lot of things.
True.
I don't think I can give a fully complete answer to that, but there's a lot of things that if you're starting a business you need to think about. First of all, and I guess just drawing on things people have brought to me in the past, I would say you need a lawyer right up front, and maybe you don't think that you do.
Yeah.
Well, that's because you have all these ads that say you can start an LLC and you're covered for the rest of your life.
Well, and you can, but it's a lot better to have a lawyer design that LLC for you specifically, and I actually offer that service online through a website that I put up called My Missouri LLC. You can go on there and fill out that, but all that does is give me the information, and then I go ahead and craft the
because
company.
it is more, it's a little more than just saying, yep, I'm an LLC.
Well, it is. And here's a mistake I see a lot of people make, because you can actually go to the Secretary of State's office, fill out a form, and pay the fee, and you've got an LLC.
Right.
But it lacks a lot of things, and there's some things about that. One, you have to put in a purpose statement. And if you don't craft that purpose statement correctly and then you begin conducting business outside that purpose statement, now you're not in compliance with your LLC documents, and you may lose the very benefits you were expecting to get by forming that LLC.
Is that a business plan? Is that or is that something so separate?
No, it's a very different thing. A purpose statement really is going to be one, maybe two-sentence thing as part of the articles the articles that you use to create the limited liability company, the articles of organization that you use to create that. A business plan is going to be a much larger document and isn't part of the LLC
Would
formation.
they need you for that, or can somebody usually take care of that on their own?
Well, as far as creating the LLC and creating the articles of organization, I really think you need a lawyer to do that, because you need to get that part correct. The other thing is, just forming the LLC at the Secretary of State's office does not generate a lot of the other documents that you also need in order to function properly as a limited liability company. In particular, an operating agreement or operating declaration in the case of a single member limited liability company. That's where I get involved with people a lot of times, because they've started their business, they either formed an LLC on their own and didn't do it completely, or they've been a sole proprietor, but they've gone to a bank and now they're wanting financing, they're wanting to open some things. And if they have an LLC they create on their own, they probably do not have an operating agreement, because that's a much more extensive document that lawyers write. So a lot of times people get involved with me because they need an operating agreement, but then I end up going and restating their articles of organization and amending them to make them more proper as well. So
don't they want to see is the articles you're talking about, that's like finding a hierarchy in the LLC, so to speak?
That's going to be covered probably more in the operating agreement.
That's what I mean, yeah.
That's what's going to give the reasons and who and the authority to the different people.
Right.
So you can either have a member-managed, a manager-managed LLC, and it's going to lay out the rights and responsibilities of each person, and that's where the bank wants to see it. They want to make sure that whoever's opening accounts, borrowing money, getting on the signer cards, has the authority to do those things.
Yeah.
Right. Is it a lot easier if it's just a single person probably starting a business?
Well, it just depends, because you have to have whatever business structure takes care of whoever's involved. And so, yeah, if it's a single person, you still need an operating declaration, because that LLC is a separate entity from the business owners, which is the whole point. That's what creates the limitation of liability.
Right.
Also, it's the thing that generates some of the tax benefits that people are looking for when they form a limited liability company.
Now, all right, and we're going to have more on this, I'm sure, later, because right now we're talking about LLC. To incorporate is a whole different thing that I know we can talk about, but the one thing that you hear people say is, hey, form an LLC, because then all your stuff is protected and they can't sue you.
Yeah.
I mean, is that pie in the sky kind of thinking?
It's not, but it might be a little simple. It's not quite that simple. You can form an LLC, but if you never use it, if you don't conduct business in it properly, it's not going to protect you at all. A lot of people actually are going to need more than one LLC in order to properly protect their assets.
In other words, talk to an attorney.
Always a good idea.
Okay,
Thank you, Will.
Thanks a lot. Now, if you have a legal question for Will, you can email him at wworsham@color10.com, and of course, he'll answer your question on the show. And thanks as always.
You're welcome.
All right. Coming up, there's some high-flying adventure waiting for you in Arkansas. We're going to show you that next.